Our second tip could be controversial.
Ooh.
And I'm sure people are going to have big feelings about it. But I think, and we both agree, that both spouses should have unlimited, complete access to each other's phones, computers, passwords.
Welcome to the Mandy Show, the Mandy Show, the Mandy Show.
I stumbled into a tree conspiracy. So bizarre. It somehow explains how the reason your allergies are terrible is the same reason people think monogamy is boring. Okay, buckle up, Buttercup, because here we go. Seasonal allergies are exploding. If you suffer, you already know the drill. Itchy eyes, sneezing, you don't need me to explain how annoying it is. And more than ever before, people in the modern world are struggling with it. There's compelling evidence that the allergy burden has risen sharply since the 1970s and 80s with no signs of slowing down. And the reason will probably surprise you. You might already know that most tree species have male and female versions. I didn't know this until recently. Males produce pollen, which is the kryptonite of allergy sufferers, and then females absorb that pollen and then use it to produce fruit and seeds. It's this beautiful symbiotic relationship until a few small decisions throw everything out of balance. A decade ago, horticulturalist Tom Ogren started investigating why his wife's allergies were so bad, and he noticed a pattern. Block after block, every tree was male. But why? And as he dug deeper, he found a note from 1949, and it was one single sentence that was buried in a USDA manual. This is a sentence. When used for street plantings, only male trees should be selected to avoid the nuisance from the seed. And there it is. When you only plant male trees, what you get is pollen with no purpose. And we could dramatically reduce allergies by planting just a few female trees. But instead, we're out here sniffling and buying 3 packs of Claritin because someone in 1949 didn't want to sweep. A whole ecosystem is thrown off balance because fruit was deemed messy, inconvenient. And honestly, that's the exact same thing that we've done to marriage. We've tried to engineer the mess out of it. We swipe, we curate, we watch porn instead of doing the more complicated work of wooing and romancing and slowly learning what turns our partner on. We keep things breezy and non-committal because depth is messy and devotion is risky. And British Vogue says that being happy in your marriage is embarrassing and prosaic. We're in the era of the anti-romantic. We're in the era of the anti-romantic, the hetero-fatalist, the marriage is boring. But have you tried reading this divorce memoir where everyone has cinematic one-night stand sex and yet is still completely miserable? And yet, like a neighborhood full of male trees, we are wheezing. We are starving for fruit, for lushness, for our equal counterpart who multiplies what we offer them. Because when men and women grow together, it's generative, it's fruitful. Commitment to each other's flourishing is hot, it's brave, it's rebellious. And in a world treating relationships like disposable packaging, commitment is the one thing that actually makes things grow. It's mutuality. It's a gorgeous, sometimes messy collaboration that makes everything more alive. People say marriage is hard. But honestly, what's really hard is being half alive in a world that tells you that connection is cringe. And while texting grocery lists is easy to mock, what about having someone to tell your petty drama to who takes your side 1,000% and understands exactly where you're coming from? What about having someone who has seen you throw up and crap yourself while pushing a baby out of your vagina and then kisses you straight on the mouth that still tastes like throw up because he's so proud of you? Or the moment when you utterly fail and rather than walk away, he holds you even closer. An inside joke is fun, but what about an entire lexicon of shared references? Yes, marriage has hard moments, but most days, my marriage is just fun. It's safe. It's cliche, but it's a blessing. And that's what Joe and I want to talk about today. Not marriage is martyrdom. Not marriage is two exhausted roommates sharing a Costco membership. Not marriage is something that inevitably fades. A happy marriage is the plot twist. It's the garden. It's the thing still worth wanting in a world trying to convince you to want less. And so let's talk about it. Joe's here, I'm here, and we've got some slightly spicy, highly practical ways to make marriage not just work, but actually kick ass in the best possible way. And so help me welcome Joe Arioto to the Mandy Show. Ooh, hello. Hey, Joe Arioto.
Probably the only kiss that you'll get.
That is definitely probably the
Mandy
only
show.
kiss.
Maybe the kids will come out.
They probably won't kiss me on the lips. Though.
No, that's true.
I'm so excited to get to chat with you today.
Yeah, fun to be here.
Yeah. We've been married for 26 years. We got married when we were 21. We were just babies, not even out of college. And yeah, it's been a journey.
Been awesome.
Yeah. Today we're talking about marriage, but I realized that one of the whole goals of this podcast is actually to get one of our friends married. And so I don't know that we've officially introduced everybody to the whole team here on set. We've got Graham, who makes this whole thing happen.
I'm not the one that needs to get married.
Graham is married
I am
and he has a
married.
baby on the way.
And I have a baby on the way.
Very happily married.
Yes.
And Kaylee.
Hello.
Kaylee, we need to find her a great husband. This is the whole goal. I mean, we've got, as quickly as possible, let's lock it down. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
So what are the details? What's
Yeah,
this
what are
look
we
like?
looking
What are
for?
we-
Yeah. Of a man or the podcast? Because we've talked about both.
Yeah.
let's
Like
start
who to
with
bring
the man.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Obviously handsome and good looking, loves the Lord. I wouldn't hate an NFL player,
Yeah.
a little basketball, something, someone that has goals. I need someone that's driven. But I need someone that's funny because I like to laugh and I also think I'm funny. So I don't think it's fair that just they get to laugh. So
Yeah.
I feel
Although an audience, it's fun
It's
to have
nice
an
to-
audience.
true.
Okay, Kaylee's 24.
Yes.
Let's talk age ranges.
Yeah, what are
here.
we- what are we
what's
looking
the,
at?
What's the age range?
Okay.
What's the ceiling?
So
What's the ceiling?
freshly 24, so I'm still like 23. So ceiling, I just had a conversation with someone the other day. I don't think I would prefer to go over 30.
Okay.
But if it was the dreamiest man I've ever seen and he's 31, I'm not going to say no,
Right.
Like, even if he's 32, okay.
Well, and in 15 years or 20 years, what's 6 years difference?
Right,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, I think over 32, I'm like, ooh, like,
Okay, so 32 is the hard line.
and no kids, personally.
Okay.
That's fair. You have to. It's good to know what your boundaries are.
Non-negotiable.
You want to have kids, but you don't want him to come
Yes.
into the relationship with kids yet.
Correct.
Great.
I think that's actually good advice for anybody. It's like you should have like a circle that is so small for someone to jump through that who can hit that hoop that it's like when they do, it's like, hello.
Yeah.
Right.
But you
know?
also have to be a little flexible, right? Like, I'm sure I do things that aren't on the original list that you maybe put together.
Teeny tiny thing and you jump right through it.
Okay, so we're on the lookout. We're going to make this happen.
Yep.
I'm giving it 12 months before we lock it down, and then we all get to be in a
Wow.
wedding. Like,
I
we're
need to
going to
be growing my hair out. Okay.
Yeah, get started now.
Okay. And if you want to be on this podcast, just drop it in the comments.
I'm just putting it out there. Joe and I are really great wedding officiants.
Okay.
We
My
are.
dad's a pastor, but I'll take
I figured
second.
that
But
might
does
be
the
your
father
first
of
choice.
the bride do
That's a lot of-
officiant?
He's already told me he will be walking me down. Narup will do the intro, and then they'll switch.
Okay, so he's already got a plan.
You can do
Like,
the prayer
he's
at
got a plan
dinner.
for it.
Prayer at
There we
dinner.
go. Thank you.
I hope my future husband has no pastors.
And then we're going to have to add a lot.
The whole audience.
many
up
prayers.
at the pulpit.
Okay, Graham, tell everybody how long you've been married. What's the scoop and the...
Dylan and I have been married for a little over a year and a half. She is 6 months pregnant. We just started the third trimester. 7 months pregnant. We just started the third trimester. Our baby's due in February. And she jumped through that tiny little hole.
Nice. So sweet.
She's perfect.
What's your best marriage advice so far?
Gosh, I think, well, we were just talking about this earlier. We did premarital counseling where we defined what our expectations were going into marriage so that we kind of just got it all out of like, as we're entering this new stage, what am I expecting you to do and what are you expecting me to do, so that we don't have a blow up in the first couple months of like, well, why is he not meeting these expectations, or why is she not meeting these expectations that we haven't communicated? So I think that would be it. Set and communicate your expectations with each other.
And I think you guys had a really good tool. It was you divvy things up, their blue jobs and pink jobs, or blue
Yes.
jobs. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's really like a helpful way to
Yeah.
describe things.
Yeah, we took a test. I don't remember what it is, but I'll find it before we post this episode, and I will link it in the YouTube description. But we did it with our premarital counselor, and we didn't get to see our results until we sat down with him, and we scored pretty high, which is good.
Well done.
But yeah, it was really helpful going in, knowing like, okay, we have already communicated. Graham is going to be in charge of the finances. Dylan is going to do the laundry, and we know what we're expecting of each other.
Yeah, that's so helpful. We definitely have blue jobs and pink jobs in our house.
Yeah.
And sometimes they change. So
That's true.
Yeah, super helpful.
Spiders in the house, blue job.
If a dog throws up, blue job. Filling the tires with air in the car, blue job. There's a lot.
Feeding the dogs.
There's probably more blue jobs than pink jobs in our house. Okay, we get to talk about marriage today. And I will be honest that this is a hard topic. I don't like to talk about marriage because everybody's marriage is so different. And we have a very easy marriage and we've had harder seasons, but
I think that's the disclaimer. It's like sometimes, like you and I work really well together. Like if there was personality trait matches, it's like I could not have had a more perfect set of dials and knobs, and like you're perfectly set for me. So I think some people have a harder time going into that. So our advice might look different.
yeah.
But I do wish I would wish our marriage upon every human in existence.
Yeah.
There would be world peace.
I think it's helpful. It was a helpful, tool. Someone told us, like, there are a ton of books about marriage, but there's not one book about how to be married to your person.
Yeah, your marriage, yeah.
And so we're going to share our top things that have worked really well in our marriage and we've seen work really well in other marriages. And some of them are practical and some are a little more difficult relationally, but we're going to share the things that we found and
fun.
hopefully it'll be helpful to everybody.
Maybe we'll learn something too.
I know. I love it. So we're going to start. And the first thing is, a couple of weeks ago, I sent Joe this video because I thought it was really funny. I saw it on Instagram and I just thought it was silly. So I texted it to him or DM'd him or something. And because that's how you communicate, right? And you DM each other memes. And he came to me, he's like, I know this is funny, but it's actually really, really accurate. And so we want to show everybody what the Instagram video was, and then we'll talk about it.
Perfect.
I was just in the backyard with my daughter throwing a football, and she threw one that was a little bit wild, and I leaned out and made a one-handed catch. Pretty good catch, honestly. And my wife was behind me, and I heard her go, whoa. Marriage is hard sometimes, but not today. I'm going to be chasing that high for a while. I'm not a licensed marriage therapist, but maybe if you want to fix your marriage, it's not that complicated. Maybe you don't have to be confident, but humble and strong, but also kind of soft, and you got to be funny, but sometimes you need to be serious. Maybe it's just you got to just sometimes go, whoa. And maybe you got to do things to make your significant other go, whoa. And then that'll last you for a while, and then when it starts to wear off, then do another whoa thing. Maybe it's that. I'm not trying to put the marriage therapist out of business, but probably just did. So you guys probably should go work on something different because I got this one solved. So, but for everybody else, I hope this helps.
Okay. Why did that resonate so much with you?
Well, one, he's hilarious.
Yeah,
Like he's got a lot of
totally.
really good stuff. And I had seen that one before and I was like, this is dead on accurate. And I think I think that men and women do have different needs. And I think that's the thing that we need to recognize about each other is like, if I'm failing to provide the things that you need, it doesn't matter how hard I'm trying on the thing that I'm doing. It's like, can I recognize that? And I think for men, having that that respect, you know, it's like, because that's kind of what he's talking about. It's like, well, like that impression, like that was impressive. Dudes just need that. And I think when we get that, it feeds like maybe just some innate thing in us, but I think it feeds something. So, I mean, and I think I had even told you, like, there was a few years ago, this is actually probably 15 years ago that this happened, but I've been working out, and I think you were standing beside me or something. You felt my chest, and you're like, oh, wow. Like, it was kind of like that, whoa. And I was like, oh man, that was really nice. I like that. So I don't know.
I feel sad that the most recent example that you can think of is, I think it was like 15
like
years
a
ago,
decade and a half
that
ago
you like
did this one.
complimented me. And
But think about I mean, that's obviously happened a lot more, but like, so, you know, a decade and a half ago, a comment that you made, I still can not only remember, but like feel the emotion that I felt in that moment. So yeah, I think that, you know, for wives who are looking for like really low hanging fruit, just be impressed by something that your husband did.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's interesting. And you mentioned that it just like, it kind of sticks with you and it fuels you for other,
like he's
throughout
like,
the
I'm
day.
going to chase that for a while.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like fuel. It's like putting fuel in a tank. And I think a lot of people are probably just running on empty. And so,
well, and I think so often we kind of just forget, like early on in our marriage, it's easy to be like, you're so great at this, or I love when you do this. And then you'd forget that
like
that
almost take
person
for
still
granted.
needs it.
Right.
Yeah.
Do women feel the same way? Like, is that impressiveness or that recognition that way? Do you feel like they feel the same way?
I would say it's a little different, at least for me in my experience. I think it's more like we want to be desired and we want to feel safe and we want to feel seen. Like the little details, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I think it shows up a little bit different, but I think there's still that.
What about like in for you, like being a 3 on the Enneagram, like that desire to want to kind of win people over, like does that
that doesn't really show up in our
differently.
marriage. Yeah. Okay. So say whoa.
And do things
your
that would
husband.
make your wife say whoa.
Yeah. Good.
Because I think, you know, for dudes that are listening to this, it's like they've got to, if you're going to just like
sit on the
play
couch
video games and do nothing, like then that's different. Like,
okay,
get up and do something.
don't criticize Graham, okay?
Oh, if
Don't
all you do
criticize
is play
the video
video
games.
games.
I am a video game player.
Do you do more than video games though?
Well, yes, I have.
He has one night.
I have
He has
one
his-
night a week where all of the guys get on and we play the game together. But it is also, I mean, I know it's not a real whoa thing for Dylan, but
She's very impressed by your video game playing.
I'll like tell her like, I got this, or I beat this mission or whatever. And she'll be like, wow, babe, that's so awesome. And even though like, I know it's fake, I still get that little like, yes.
Even a fake whoa can do
Yeah,
it.
my wife is impressed with my video game playing. That's awesome.
So that resonates with you too. The whoa, like,
A little
I
bit.
love it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. She told me the other day that my beard was looking thick, and I was like,
Hey.
I'll take that.
all
Okay.
right, yeah,
Pretty much a Viking with this beard.
yeah.
That's funny. Well, I do think it taps into some like deeply seated things that men have that need for. And so again, if you're a dude listening to this, do some things that make your wife go whoa. And if you're a wife, like notice
Look
those
for
things.
'em.
Yeah, look for
Yeah.
those things.
Good. Okay, our second tip could be controversial.
Ooh.
And I'm sure people are going to have big feelings about it. But I think, and we both agree, that both spouses should have unlimited, complete access to each other's phones, computers, passwords. At any point, you can look at my social media. At any point, I can look at yours. You can look at my text. Like,
100%.
you know, you can see everything.
I think your phone has my face as an unlock. I think mine does too.
You probably look at my text more than I do.
I definitely.
No, you've never. You've never.
That's funny.
And the interesting thing about this is I cannot remember the last time I looked at anything of yours. Like, I know I can.
Mm-hmm.
I have complete access to look at whatever I want whenever. And I don't feel the need ever to, because I feel so safe and I feel like we know that there's transparency in all of our online activity and all of that. So it's because I have complete access to everything. I don't even have to think about it, really.
Right. Well, and this whole phone thing is like a really new phenomenon. And I don't think we have any clue what the long-term ramifications of this little device that is like your own world, and you're building relationships on it through social media and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think the long-term effect is going to be very good, but to open up that world to your spouse, it's like you're intimate with everything else. Like, why would that be this like special carved out world where that's happening?
Yeah.
So,
this is my thing, but it's crass to say, but what I think is like, if you're a woman and you'll let your husband into your body, but you won't let him into your phone, like there's an intimacy problem there, and there's probably something going on your phone that's not good. And we both know, and we've seen this in so many people's marriages, that secrets, even the small ones, are
impactful
corrode
negatively, right?
a relationship. And so, I just think,
and it's normal for us. I mean, again, I think we got our first cell phone when we were youth pastoring. It was just like, so we grew up in that era, and it just never was a thing. So it never was like my phone, your phone. Like, I'll hand you you might not go look at my phone, but I'll hand you my phone. Can you text somebody while we're driving or something like that? And that's strange to me that would be weird to other people.
yeah.
Like that they wouldn't be able to do that. I don't know.
Yeah. Kaylee, is your future husband going to be able to look at everything on your phone?
Yeah,
Where are you?
I even think like some of my friends have their faces on my phone because I'm like, what is there to hide? But I also think it's been really different being my experience growing up with phones. Like, my parents got their phones when we were like 2 or 3. So we've always been in front of iPads, TVs, phones. And so it is such like a sacred thing for people. And for me and all my friends, like, those are red flags. Like, if you're being weird about your phone, but you want me to spend the night, like, seriously? Like, absolutely not. So it's weird.
Yeah.
We'll find out. I mean, I'm sure in a decade or a couple decades from now, we'll see like what the societal impact has been from this whole experiment. But I think this is one way to combat that. It's like, don't make it your own secret little world that's there.
Yeah. The vulnerability is what makes a marriage intimate and unique and special, and just being like, okay, this is embarrassing, but you get to see all of it.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts, comments on
It's
that
weird
one?
that that's controversial. I feel like
I think a lot of people feel like they should have private spaces.
it's just weird to me if you've got your partner, and I think it ties into other things also that we'll talk about too, like with finances and that kind of thing. It's like, you kind of got to decide, like, are you all in on this or are you not? Because if you're not, I believe you're setting yourself up for failure. It's like the comment, 100% committed is easier than 99% committed.
Yeah.
Because then you're like making waffling decisions. Like,
Yeah.
just be committed.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Number 3, initiate. You can take the...
Yeah, initiate. And this is something that I feel like I am not great at, because sometimes I feel like I'm kind of a selfish a-hole. Like, even like some of the things that I do, like skydiving and stuff like that, it's like, that's like really vain, selfish pursuit. But I think for guys to recognize, and you talked with me about the concept of mental load, and I think guys would benefit from understanding what that means for women. But my understanding of it, essentially, women carry the vast majority of the responsibilities for a household kind of in their head, and it's constantly this list that you're just going through. And that's definitely true in our marriage. Like, I don't know how we would like, you put my hair up into a bun. Like, I can't even put my own hair up in a bun. Like, there's so many things that I think women typically track and do. And so for guys, like, are you even aware of what that list is? And I think I was totally unaware of that list for decades. And so taking the time to understand not just what the list is, but how can I do something about it? So taking initiative. And maybe it's just a Joe trait, it could be, but I tend to be, I'll use the most positive form of it, efficient. The other way to put it would be lazy. And so I think getting out of that comfort zone for a guy, recognize, okay, here's what you're dealing with, here's all those things, here's how I can help, and initiating it, not waiting for your wife to say, hey, can you do this thing? Or for the 10th time, can you do this thing?
Yeah. Especially because that just makes me feel, if you ask me like, hey, how can I help you? Right? Super thoughtful question. But then I have to be the one, I'm like mothering you in a way.
Right.
I'm like, okay, here, the kids have this appointment. We need to get groceries. Da, 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 da. It's like, I need you to know those things and not have to ask me for for our household to run well.
And I think it's also, and maybe it's just natural for some guys, like and a lot of my friends, when we'll have this conversation, I don't care like what the house looks like, what the house smells
Thank
like.
the
I'm just
Lord.
like, but my point is like, I think probably to many women where it's like home is what they're turning a house into a home. And that means, you know, having it look a certain way or feel a certain way, where guys are like, just throw your clothes over here. And so I think naturally a lot of guys are not thinking about all those things that it takes to keep a home running as a home. So I think it does take us getting outside of our natural ability and our comfort zone and just say, okay, let me help with this. Let me do something about it.
Yeah. I think it's super sexy when you initiate a conversation, when you, like, if we have to if there's something going on and you're like, things feel off, if you initiate that conversation, love that. Or if you initiate, like doing something fun, like getting tickets for us, or there's all sorts of ways that you jump in and take initiative and say, hey, we're going here, or we're doing this. Like that
So
is
beyond just like the task list,
it's way bigger than
see,
just
we
like
can all learn something today.
than just like the laundry needs to get done.
Right.
It's like just being proactive or taking care of the yard, those kinds of things where I don't even have to think about it. That says, I see you, I need you, I want you, I care about being partners in this.
Right.
And I think as women, our job is to equally initiate, but it might look different. And I feel like, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think for women, it's initiating intimacy and sex. And like we were talking the other day about, I can't even remember what the impetus of the conversation was, but you were talking about how it's a turn on or sexy, like when I touch you. It's not even like a sexual touch, but like we're out and I like touch your arm or like hold your hand.
Right.
And for me, remembering to initiate in that way, to show you physical affection or to initiate sex. And I don't know if you saw this recently, but it was this study that was done, and it talked about how when men have sex in the morning, they're 70% more efficient at work. Like they get 70% more done during the day.
How did they do this study?
I know.
Can you send me that study? I need
Show Dylan.
I need
Show
to forward
Dylan.
that to my wife.
My boss sent me this.
70%. It's so specific. It's not
I
like,
know.
not that they're more productive. They're like,
They like enjoy their day more. And then I saw this other one.
that's interesting.
And it said 82% of men said simple gestures from their partners, like hugging, holding hands, or just being close, were the most important factor in managing stress and feeling truly happy. And so I think sometimes as women, we're like so task oriented and get things done and be productive and make everything nice for everybody else that we forget like it's the small initiations that actually make a world of difference.
I think so many, the more I've talked with you about this and other people, experts in this field, the whole concept though, I think so many women are in survival mode relationally that it's like thinking about those, like if you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you have like basically basic necessities, then service to others, and then self-actualization. So it's like if you're struggling with just survival, thinking about, oh, I want to go over and give him a hug or touch him or whatever, it's like that's not even on the radar. So I think there's probably an interplay between men stepping up and helping and doing more, and women recognizing, oh, now that I have some space, like that, it's like it can.
It's like that mutuality we talked about in the beginning,
Totally.
right? It's like when we're paying
Yes.
attention to each other's needs, then
Right.
it elevates everything for
Right.
everybody.
And I think that, being out and touching me or holding my hand or my arm or whatever, being close to me, it's like, it is also a recognition, like, I want you, I see you, like I'm here with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not necessarily because you are a very strong, independent woman, but it's like, I'm choosing
So
you.
strong, so independent.
strong and so sexy at all times.
Thank you.
But I think there is this, like you said, that mutuality between those things. And I think that's maybe that's the biggest thing is like marriage does take two people who are committed to it. It's very hard or what I've seen, like people struggling solo in a marriage, and it's like they're the only one fighting for it.
Yeah.
And I think that can be hard.
Yeah.
So mutual.
Yep. And when you have little kids, it takes
Yeah,
a
it's
lot
exhausting.
more effort. Under this umbrella of initiating and being seen and recognizing how to love the other person the way they need and not the way that is easiest for you. Because like my go-to to love you well would be like, do your laundry and, like task oriented. But I don't always think about touching you. So I need to remember, like, there's ways that you need to be loved that aren't my immediate go-to that I need to cultivate. But under that umbrella comes this, I saw a social post recently and I loved it so much. It was a man, you guys all might have seen it. And on his notes app, he keeps a running list of his wife's order at every fast food restaurant. Have you seen it? It's freaking adorable.
It's so cute.
Yeah. So he has her order at every restaurant. And one of the ways that I feel so seen by you is you're like, I'm going to Sweetgreens and you know exactly what I want. Or we're going to Chipotle and like, you don't have to ask me my order because you pay attention. And I think it's just these small things that we can do to initiate and help each other feel seen. So what do you think about all those little tiny things like the notes app and...
Well, I think I think guys also in different ways can just be task oriented. So it's like, maybe guys can just learn to say, well, that's more efficient. So like, let's just do it that way. And if that shows that you're being seen, I think that's the biggest thing for me, especially with you, is just like showing that I've taken time to think about you. And so that, it could be as simple as I know your order, but it could show up in a lot of other ways. So I just think, any tool that someone can use, that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Just
so
have a
smart.
notes out. It's really easy.
And any wife is going to swoon when you show her that you have that.
Or you don't even have to show her. Just leave it up, on the table.
When she goes to look at your phone.
Yeah. When she checks into your phone and sees your notes.
Make a secret list of all the things you love about your wife.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, number 5. This is something that we care deeply about in our family and have for a long time. And I'll tell you, it started right after we first got married. And we had been married for maybe 2 days. And we went to our first apartment and we were getting ready for our honeymoon. And Joe realized that he didn't have his birth certificate or passport or something. And we were going to Mexico for our honeymoon. And I got frustrated. And in my family, when you're upset with someone, you don't talk to them when I was growing up. So I would, if my dad was angry at us, he would ignore me for a couple days and then he would start talking to me again. And there was no resolution, no, I'm sorry, nothing like that. It just was super awkward. And then it was like, okay, I guess he decided that this is done. And so I'm frustrated with Joe because he didn't know where his birth certificate or passport was. He totally figured it out. We made our flight. It was no big deal. But I remember I started to do the thing that we did in my family growing up. And so I gave him the silent treatment for a couple minutes or whatever. And he came over to me and he's like, hey, we're not doing this. This isn't how we're going to behave in our marriage. And it totally shifted for me. And I recognized, oh my gosh, there's another way to do this. Like it didn't even cross my mind that there was another way to resolve conflict or to deal with frustration because that was just so normal in my family. And ever since then, we have worked really hard at getting out in front of conflict. And when things arise, it's like we lead with kindness and we're very careful with our words and we don't say anything that we're going to regret later. And of course, people are going to say things we regret, but we're really intentional to be kind to each other. And so will you talk a little bit about watching your tone and being intentional?
Yeah, I think, I think a lot of people, it could be men or women, like raising your voice. I think the psychological reasons behind that are probably varied from person to person. But I think for some people, it's like, you're not hearing me, so therefore I need to raise my voice. It's like, well, they're not, like, they heard you and they understand you. Raising your voice is like the adult version of a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
And it's just not acceptable. Which is funny because I've not really been I've never raised my voice
Never.
to you ever, nor really.
There's only one scenario in our household that you raise your voice. One.
Which one?
When River's humping Olivia.
Yeah.
Our dogs.
Yeah. Ongoing. So I was like, that's the.
You're like, what is going on in the Arioto's house? We have a humper. We have a dog humper.
He's a real humper.
He's a real humper.
But you brought that to my attention because you said it really makes me feel uncomfortable when you raise your voice, because I just don't do that other than with the dogs.
Yeah.
Like I've kind of always done that with the dogs, and you brought that to my attention. I was like, you know what, you're right. Like I'm out of control if I'm having to raise my voice. So get things under control. But I think the premise of this is like, be kind to one another. And then when you're wrong, take ownership of it and say you're sorry. And like it, so my household was totally different. There was like a formal process that we had to go through. So if you had wronged somebody, you needed to say, I'm sorry. They needed to then hear that and say, I forgive you. And then we had to hug each other and we had to mean it. And so it was like, you don't get to pass the next stage until you do that. So I was given a different kind of rule set. So when things were not feeling right, it's like, I don't like this at all.
Yeah.
And I think
I'm
it served
so
us well.
glad that you did that, because it set us on such a healthier trajectory. And then our kids know how to resolve conflict,
Right.
because you modeled that. And it was a relief to me to recognize there's a different way to do this. And it doesn't have to last forever. And there's a way that we like put a bow on it, like hugging and looking each other in the eye. Okay,
And you
I
have to mean
forgive
it.
you.
Yeah, when you ask for an apology, like when you say you're sorry, you have to mean it. You can't just be saying the words. Like it's like there's a process that's behind that. I don't know. It worked for us.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing is like, as adults, as we're interfacing with each other, if you find yourself raising your voice or treating or saying mean things to that person, you need to stop. Like what they say, if you find yourself in a hole, stop digging.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just stop. Like stop immediately and correct your behavior. Like that's what you can control. So I think there's a lot of people who need to hear that. It's like raising your voice, being mean or using aggression is not going to serve longevity in your marriage. And I think I can't remember.
It creates wounds that are really hard to heal.
Hard to heal.
Yeah.
They may be forgiven, but they're not forgotten.
Yeah.
And so I think, just that was, I forget who gave us that advice, but like you guys, we did like premarital counseling, which I think is really smart for it. It's so funny. Like people plan for weddings forever. They spend inordinate amounts of time planning for weddings, but they don't plan for their marriage.
Yeah.
And so I think some of the tools that we were given, that was one of them, is just don't say things that you're going to regret later. And we all know when we're saying something that we're going to regret. Just don't say it. Like stop that wound before it happens.
Yeah.
But I think to your point, it's be in control of yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what you can own in the relationship.
Yeah. I'm not a super verbal processor, as you know, like we'll come home at the end of the day and like you tell me all the details of your day and I love hearing it. And then you're like, how was your day? And I'm like, it was good. And that's all I don't have to process.
Yeah.
And so now I recognize a little after we've been married for a long time, it's like, you need to hear about my day. Mm-hmm. It can't be a one-sided thing. And
but also, I don't need to hear everything too.
Totally.
Even though I want to, I'm like,
Yeah.
I gotta know.
Yeah.
That's why I like The Bachelor.
Yeah. But the other thing I've learned is how I need to verbalize how I appreciate you. Because it's one thing to be like, oh, that's great that Joe takes care of it. But have I told him how much I appreciate it? And so I saw this video the other day, we're going to show it. And I was like, this totally sums up like the ways I feel about you. And she's so good at verbalizing very specifically and intentionally and thanking her husband for all the things that he does for their family. And I think this is revolutionary if wives could do this for their husbands. And so we're going to play it and then we'll talk about it a little more.
We're thriving because of you. Like, I'm able to get a new phone because of you. I'm able to go get my eyes tested and get new glasses tomorrow because of you. I'm able to have somebody come in here and clean because of you. I'm able to make a meal for not just our family, but Crystal and Brad because of you. Like, you're not just keeping us afloat, you're driving us. And I appreciate you so much. Like, the way you lavish your love on us is insane. Like, you take such good care of us. You are such an incredible provider. And I don't just mean financially. Like, you're an incredible provider for our family. Like, I had expectations of what you were going to be like, and you have far surpassed them. Like, I am overwhelmed with what a great provider you are for our family. I am so blessed, and I'm so grateful that you're my husband. I just want you to know that. Okay?
Thanks.
I just love you so much.
I love you too.
When I showed you that, how did that resonate with you?
Like, what was the conversation right before that? I'd be so curious. Like,
Yeah.
what was he struggling with? Like, I'm
Because you
not
can
being a
kind
good-
of see him like dabbing.
Oh, I could
tears.
cry watching it again.
I
I've seen that
know.
like 3 times. Like, it's talk about the whoa. Like, that'll last
Yeah.
a lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious, like, how many women do you think feel that they just don't say it, or do they not feel it? Maybe
I think sometimes, I think a lot of people probably feel that, but I think what happens is over the years, we forget to notice the things that our person does for us, and we forget to appreciate the small things. And so you almost get blind to it. Or if you do appreciate it, you forget to say it and be really specific. So I think we just kind of forget and we get worn down and expectations don't get met. And so if this expectation didn't get met, then we think we can't be grateful for we have this, even though this isn't getting met, but we do have this. And I think the reason I love that video so much, I think sometimes we think everything has to be perfect in order to be grateful. Like, we have to be in the perfect house and we have to have the right amount of money in our bank account and we need this, this, and this. But that's not, that's hardly ever where all the scenarios combine to a place where it's like, everything is amazing. It's almost like when things are crappy is when you have to be like, dude, we could pay for groceries this week. And there have been years in the past where we had to look at each other and go, how are we going to pay for groceries this week? And it's recognizing like we made it this week and we did it together and we're a team. And I think that's when the magic happens, when you can like sit in that and be grateful for even when things are kind of sucking, but
Right.
we're figuring it out together.
Well, I think gratitude is just like this magical superpower. Like, if people can tap into gratitude, regardless of the circumstance, like it's, and I mean, obviously, like, their house was not perfect. You know, maybe someone is coming and cleaning, but it wasn't that day. And like, I don't know. Again, I wish I could have caught like what was the conversation right before that, because it sounded like he needed that. It was like he was, because she like stands up. She's like, yeah,
what
she's
are you
like,
talking about?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, that gratitude, that recognition, like taking the time to do that, and taking the time to say it, like it's because I think sometimes we also just get comfortable. You know, and we're not even saying the thing that we're thinking. Like, I think that all the time about you. I'm like blown away by who you are. Do I say it all the time?
Yes,
Well,
you do.
I do say it a lot, but I think it more than that.
Yeah.
So, and I think if we're talking like from a spiritual perspective, I think there's also promptings where it's like the Holy Spirit can prompt you to say, like, hey, bro, it's time to say something to this person, including your spouse. And so it's like paying attention to those nudges and just maybe it sounds weird, but be obedient to that nudge and speak up.
I think another thing that happens sometimes in marriages is you go so long acting one way that acting a different way is uncomfortable or it feels like vulnerable. So if you've gone for 3 years and you haven't like said that you appreciate your person, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, it almost feels like,
It's awkward and
Yeah.
weird and scary.
yeah. So it's getting out of the ruts that we sometimes get in and being the first one to be like, okay, this feels a little weird, but I'm just going to say it.
Right.
Or I'm going to initiate sex, or I'm going to do something that's out of our normal in order to get out of the rut that we're in.
Right. But gratitude, you can't like overstate the importance of that,
Yeah.
even when it's not the ideal times or circumstances or whatever.
Yeah. Graham, what are you most grateful for about your wife?
Gosh. Well, when I was watching that video, I was thinking, so we had a pretty heavy snow here last night, and I live like an hour north of here on a dry day. And so I had a very long commute to the office and a very long drive home last night. And Dylan was just like grateful that I was alive. Like I got home and she just started like crying tears of joy. And it was really sweet.
That's super adorable.
But yeah, I don't know. She's far better at gratitude than I am. She is thanking the Lord every day for stuff that I'm just like, wouldn't even have thought about that. But she is, this is going to sound cliche, but she is like truly a Proverbs 31 kind of like homegrown gal, where her top priority in the day, like, okay, on Tuesday when I got home from work, I got home a little earlier than normal, and she was like so disappointed in herself that she didn't have dinner ready when I got home. And so I'm just grateful that she's like focused on being the provider when it comes to our household, that she's a caregiver in that sense. I don't know. When I look at her, I just see the makings of an incredible mother, and I'm really excited to see what that looks like when we actually have our baby girl in person.
You chose well.
I really did.
Joe Arioto is sitting there like, you might want to take some notes about having dinner ready.
Nope.
No, that's super sweet. I love that. Okay. We covered that pretty well.
I think
In
so.
specific. Bank accounts.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I saw just a couple days ago, Kevin O'Leary, from Shark Tank, put out a comment that it's like the most insane decision ever to, bring your accounts together or whatever. And I actually watched the video because I knew we were going to talk about this. Like, my advice is like people need to combine your accounts. Like, you should have, if you're married, like you should go all in with each other. I know this is specific to us. I mean, we were 21 when we got married. We didn't have anything.
Yeah.
And so very easy for us to say, and I get that it's probably harder for other people, where it's like people could be bringing in businesses and inheritances and things like that, where it can get more convoluted. Kevin O'Leary's advice I thought was actually good for some people, because he was specifically saying you want to build your credit. So he was saying like you want to have individual credit cards that you have transparency on, but that are, separate, so you build your credit. So I get that. But I just think it's, again, going back to being one. Like, are you a team? Like, are you in this together? So if it's his money and her money, your money, my money, I don't think that breeds teamwork and togetherness. I think that actually breeds selfishness in a marriage.
Yeah, it's interesting because finances are such a big deal in a lot of marriages, and it's a tension point for so many couples.
It's a huge reason for
But
divorce.
having your own accounts isn't the solution that you think it's going to be. It actually creates other problems. It's not like it doesn't, it eliminates problems. It's just different problems that you're navigating. You work in financial services. And so what have you seen? Like when you see people with accounts who have committed together versus people who keep their own account, like what are the differences?
I don't feel like I have enough like data points to make, I can just tell you anecdotally, but it is the yours versus mine, like which account is being spent. That just, I don't see togetherness with that. I don't think I have enough like stats to say, oh, well, if you have this, then that. I'm sure that research exists though. And I would encourage people to reach out, to whomever to find out what that would be. But I think looking at your own life and just ask yourself, if money is an issue for you and you have separate accounts, perhaps think about things differently.
It comes back to the phones and the computers,
Exactly.
right? It's like if we have secrets, if you spend in ways that you don't want your partner to see, if you have control issues with money, those are the opportunities for us. That's where marriage is sanctifying, that it helps us learn different ways of being, different ways of connecting and being intimate, but also different ways of just understanding that all of it is God's money anyways.
Right.
And so we get to learn how to relate to our resources a little bit better.
And I think, so I would say it's kind of in the same vein, but like you and I have made commitments to being philanthropically generous. Like it's been, even when it was sacrificial, meaning we don't have enough money for the end of the month, how are we going to do this? We made that commitment. It's along the same lines of as this, but the people who I work with are typically unbelievably successful. They make a lot of money, most of them over $1 million a year of personal income. So they're in a different category. But the premise of what I'm going to say, I think, holds true for everybody. It's like, what's the legacy that I'm building? So what is the inheritance that we're going to leave to our kids? Or what truly, like when I'm gone, what's going to happen? So that's what the work that I get to do with people, but it is a cohesiveness. So it's a bringing them together. What is your shared vision as a couple of what you're doing? So for, I would say, the vast majority of the people that I work with, it's not only like these bank accounts being combined, it's our legacy combination.
Yeah.
And we're enacting like very high-end like financial tools to ensure that that happens. But I think generosity is just one of those things, and this is a little bit off topic, but generosity is one of those things that will immediately break the stranglehold that money has on anyone's neck. And it has, especially in America, it has a death grip around most people's neck. And the second that you choose to be generous, financially give, it breaks that grip on your neck.
Yeah.
And it will never go back if you stay committed to that.
Yeah.
So I think that, I mean, again, it's kind of fun. Like we as a couple get to sit down and decide, okay, where are we going to invest these resources that God has given us to steward? You know, is it, you know, wherever it might be.
And we've decided to be we work really hard to be extraordinarily generous
Right.
with our resources. And it's interesting because it's the only thing in the Bible that God tells us to test him in.
Right.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, again, we could do a whole podcast on
Yeah.
this because it's like I want my life to be a testament that you can't outgive God.
Yeah.
Like that's I would love for that to be the case. And I think it's probably different for different people. I don't think everyone, you know, should follow like the rules that we've, you know, put in place for our life, but like put together a philanthropy plan for yourself. So in almost any circumstance, the more you make, the more you spend. It's an axiom for a reason. And so again, because I'm blessed to do the work that I do, I get to see people who are making tens of millions of dollars a year. And I can just tell you at the end of chasing money as the thing that's going to bring joy or happiness, it's vacuous. There's nothing there. Conversely, almost no matter how little you give, there's joy in even the smallest amounts. So yeah, I mean, people talk about like tithe and things like that. Yeah, give 10% to your church, but then like
That's the start.
yeah, that's that like truly. And I remember Eric, you know, one of our friends, he said God really changed his heart on this. And he was like, at one point, he was like, I had to take my left hand to write, you know, with my right hand the checks, because he's thinking if I had kept this money, I could have bought this or I could have done that. And then he said God just like totally changed his heart, and now he can't wait to write checks. Like it's like joyful for him to do. I feel like that was advice he gave to me that I feel like took to heart. And you know, when our pastor was talking about giving, I felt like God like downloaded to me like, here's what your giving plan is going to be for your life. And we get to enjoy the resources that are provided, but with more money comes more giving, not more spending.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So, have shared bank accounts.
share
Don't have
bank
your
accounts
own.
and be philanthropically
Yeah.
generous with your money.
We weren't planning on talking about generosity, but I think that was the important
Yeah.
place to go.
It's and just to interject, it's fun.
Yeah.
Like if people can change their heart around it, like that brings a couple together. Like I think that is actually really sound
Yeah.
marriage advice.
Something that God showed me a couple years ago is, and you know, I do this regularly, but I'm like, okay, God, the toothpaste in our house is yours. My pillow is yours. Like, none of this is mine. None of this is something that I need to control. Every single thing that is under our house that God has asked us to steward is God's. He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. All of it. The silverware in our drawers are God. And that's been really helpful for me, just to recognize, like, I don't have to worry about any of this. Like, this is all, God's got all of this. And we just get to enjoy it and invite other people to enjoy it as well. The next one that I think is really important is kind of silly, but I think it's actually revolutionary, and that's to pray over your bed. And I saw someone talking about it recently, and they said, if hell is attacking your marriage, don't start with counseling. Not that counseling is bad, but start with your atmosphere. Start by praying over your bed. Your bed is not just furniture, it's a covenant altar. And throughout Scripture, there are altars that people build as a way to remember, as a way to worship. And it's so true. Like, our beds are the place where a covenant, intimate relationship happens, where conversations happen. It is like ground zero for our marriage. And so I do this over our house regularly, but I'll take olive oil and I'll like anoint our bed, and I anoint the doorposts in our house, and I anoint our kids and our dogs and everything. But it's, sometimes we think those kinds of things are silly, and we think, oh, baptism is just another ritual that we do, or communion. Like, we have all these rituals that we do as people of faith. And sometimes we think it's for us, but I actually think that there are things that happen in the spiritual realm that we aren't aware of when we participate in them. And anointing things with oil is a biblical tradition that was incredibly important. Kings would be anointed, prophets would be anointed. Baptism, communion, like I mentioned, these things are important in the spiritual realm. They break things open. There are legal contracts in the spiritual realm that we're not aware of, that when we do these things, the forces of evil are overcome. And so sometimes we think the conflict in our marriage is between us, but it's not. There are spiritual things happening. There are powers and principalities and other things involved, that when we take it to the next level, to that spiritual level, that's when the breakthrough happens. There have been times in our marriage where I committed for 21 days to pray over Joe because he had things going on in work or whatever, that I was like, I need to fight for my husband right now. And so I would fast and pray for 21 days because we needed to see some breakthroughs in our marriage or in our family or in our finances. And so I think sometimes we got to get a little weird. And if you need to anoint your bed, then frickin' pour some oil on the frames of your bed to break through, because it is the place where the covenant starts. Thoughts?
Well, and what you're saying is it's probably more than just a symbol.
Yeah.
Even though the symbol can be important in and of itself, but there's something more to that. Yeah. And even, some of the stuff, what was the giant in the Bible, whose
Og of Bashan.
Og of Bashan. And it was like, they think that his bed may have been like a sexual altar, where it's just like, so these things, and even on top of that, even like sleep, like we spend so much time in our beds, me more than you. But I think you're right in that. I think these things do mean more than just the symbol. And again, it probably would feel weird for people to anoint their bed with oil, but why not try it?
And I'm just going to be really practical, because I know sometimes we say these things and it's like, what does that even mean? So what that means for me is I just take a little tiny bowl, I pour a little bit of oil in it, I dink my finger in, and then like our bed is wooden, and so I like make the sign of the cross on like the 4 sides of our bed. That's what it looks like. Or I anoint our door frames, so I go to all of our door frames and I put a little sign of the cross on both sides of the door. Or if I'm praying over our dogs or our kids or somebody, I like just take a little dot of oil and put it on their forehead. That's all I mean by anointing, because sometimes I think people are like, what does that even mean? But I don't even know. Is it like pouring it over or whatever? So that's the practical.
But I think your point is, I think should be taken by everybody. And I think, you know, we have felt in our marriage the strength that you have brought spiritually in praying. Like, I don't know how prayer works. I just know that prayer works.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, your faithfulness and I think for a lot of women out there, it's like, that's something you can control.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be this super public thing.
Right.
It can be, but it doesn't have to be, you know.
It's probably better if it's not.
Yeah, probably better if it's not. Do you remember my mom talking about that? How she would go, she heard some women speaker at some point, and she said she would take her apron and put it over her head and pray at her bed. So my mom started doing that like all those years ago. And I remember like walking in and seeing okay, she's praying, close the door, go out.
Yeah.
So whatever it might be, that practical tip, like, cause you are very, very good at this. Like, you do this all the time. You're way beyond like it being weird. It's just normal and accepted. How did you get there? Like what prompted you to do that?
I have a grandma and mom who modeled that for me, but more, it's like every once in a while, you know how we were talking about this the other day, like, you know how I just know something sometimes?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I just know something sometimes. And there's times where God just whispers like, you gotta go to battle. And I know what that means for us and our family. And so it's just being really sensitive to
So just
that
listening
voice
to
of God.
internally.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna move on
Okay.
to our next segment.
Sounds
We've got a
good.
couple other things that we could talk about, but we'll save that for another another podcast episode. We're gonna jump into debate club. Are
Okay.
you ready
I'm
for
ready.
debate club?
Yeah.
This is a big deal where we solve really important problems.
Okay. I've got
Okay.
solutions.
Okay. Joe Arioto. Welcome to Debate Club, where the points are made up, the opinions are questionable, and the stakes are absolutely non-existent. We might not even believe in the side that we're arguing, but that's not the point. The point is to have fun while solving the world's least pressing problems. So let's begin. Joe, as a reminder, we have 3 rules at Debate Club. Number 1, present with conviction.
Okay.
Number 2, all stats can be made up. Number 3, props are allowed, but only if they're confusing or irrelevant. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Today's topic, this is a hot topic. When you're on an airplane, window or aisle, we've already discussed this ahead of time. This is a very easy debate for you and I because I'm a window person and you're an aisle person.
Correct.
And so I'm going to let you take the floor first and debate why the aisle seat is better than the window seat.
So where's my camera? Is it right here? Okay, so I will say this. So 63% of adult males prefer the aisle seat, and whopping 72% of females prefer the aisle seat. So I think just the weight of, you know, what the general population believes would indicate something. Now, I could vie for the window seat because you get some pretty pictures and you can do that, but what happens when you need to use the restroom? Are you going to climb over everybody? Are you going to displace everybody and ask them to stand up so that you can go use the restroom or do whatever you've got to do? So and you're faster off the plane when time comes. I feel like any other choice is having to make concessions to really important things for just novelties.
Fair points. Thank you for bringing those very strong opinions about the aisle seat. I'd like to address ladies, gentlemen, fellow travelers, people who clap when the plane lands, which is a whole nother topic that we could debate about whether that is appropriate or not. I'd like to make the case that the window seat is far superior to any other seat on the plane for a number of reasons. The first being that you are in control. You have agency when you're on the window seat. You control whether it's going to be light, whether it's going to be dark. Not only do you have agency when you are in the window seat, you get a built-in headrest. It is like a cozy cocoon on the window where nobody's disrupting you. Nobody's asking you to get up to go anywhere. You get in your seat and you can relax. You can sleep. You can look out the window. I've told you this many times in the past, but I don't trust people who sit in a window seat with the window closed because we have only been flying for a little over 100 years. It is a freaking act of God. It is miraculous that we are 35,000 feet above the ground and we can look down. So billions of people have lived on the earth and never had that privilege. And so to sit in the aisle and forgo this miraculous thing that happens on the window seat seems just like you have lost your entire meaning for living when you're focused on efficiency. And my last point that I feel like is really the tipping point of why the window seat is better is because when you sit in the aisle seat, there's so much research, so many scientific studies that have been done around the amount of people who fart on the way to the bathroom. And when you are in the aisle seat, their butt is right at your head level. So every single person that walks by, you're smelling their ass while they're heading to the bathroom. And that in and of itself, I'm like, why would you ever choose to sit in the aisle seat when you're smelling people's farts the whole entire airplane ride? So that is my case for why the aisle seat is far superior to the aisle seat.
Research shows that 82% of airplane bathroom goers are aisle farters.
I mean, that's just general knowledge. Everybody knows that research. So there you go. Do you have any rebuttals to the case?
I really don't, and I think this is a really good.
It's hard to argue.
It's a really good example of why our marriage works really well. Because I actually totally agree with you. I think I should be sitting in the window seats now.
I converted you to that.
Yeah, I think so.
To the window.
And also, in the window seat is also the closest to the door in a skydiving airplane, so you do want to be the first
prime
out.
Seat.
So
yeah.
I think
You don't have to concede.
I have to concede. I have to concede. It was so compelling.
Okay. Always a good time at Debate Club. I mean, I think there's more conversation to be had. I think there's more nuances to an aisle seat that could be.
I'd love to hear people's thoughts in the comments. Like, why do you choose the aisle seat? Help me bolster my my argument here that the aisle seat is better.
Okay, so everybody in the comments, we want to hear what is better, window or aisle, and help Joe with his efforts.
Craft a better
argument for the window seat. I don't know that you're going to get better. I don't know that you're going to be able to beat the aisle farters going on.
I'm just thankful that you like the window seat and I like the aisle seat.
It works really well. That's why we're meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we can finish each
other's sentences.
Sandwiches.
Okay, we're going to wrap up this podcast. And one of the features that we will regularly bring back was started by Chad Goes Deep on Instagram, where he offers a quick approach to something that he values, something that he witnesses as a small joy that you notice in life that you just want a quick appreciation. Our daughter Elle made us aware of this, and so I have a quick appreciation to wrap up today. So my quick appreciation, and it's super cheesy, I will acknowledge, but it's on brand for today's episode. So my quick appreciation is sitting next to my husband at church. Sitting next to your husband at church hits on a spiritual frequency that science has not yet explained. It's absolute peak romance that rivals the best Hallmark movies. He's flipping the Bible like a gentle warrior scholar. You're both pretending to concentrate, but also silently I know we're here to worship the Lord, but also the thigh contact, the arm around my waist while we're singing, super hot. And then you hold hands for prayer, and it's like, is this reverence or foreplay? Honestly, I'm not sure, and that's between us and Jesus. So massive appreciation for a husband who never lets a kid sit between us at church. I love you.
Love you too.
All right. Thanks for joining us today. I can't wait till next time. Love you all.